DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Welcome to DJNTV and Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe. Now introducing the one and only Ben Stowe.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's show. We are live here on DJNTV.
Oh, really? Hi, I'm Ben Stowe. Welcome to the Ben Stowe Show.
And
Hi, I'm Bill Herman. I'm sitting in for tonight.
Yeah,
this is going to be a fabulous show as we go through and we talk about all the technical questions you have wanted to have answered. Ben is here to answer them.
Yeah, and me too.
Okay, Ben, why don't you tell us some technical things?
Okay, see this?
Give us some nerd speak.
It's called a black talkie electricano thingy do, and that's the technical term. I wouldn't look it up. It's very difficult.
I was just trying to figure out how you spell that.
Yeah,
so.
the spelling.
Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. So,
well, this show that escalated quickly.
We were doing so.
What
well.
is the subject today?
We're actually going to talk about wash lighting, to be able to wash our dance floor with a soft light that's going to work for a wedding type DJ's application.
Kind of like what you're doing behind you right now?
Kind of, exactly, but to do it properly instead of me doing it with candles and aluminum foil.
Or doing it really, really well, like the lighting behind Ben right now.
Yeah, this is some epic hotel room lighting here. This is Las Vegas's finest.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and if you notice, I'm the king of staging today.
You are.
I set this up to make it look like I'm busy and smart.
with your talkie thingy.
My talkie Mikey thingy dooey.
Yeah, the talkie Mikey.
The hangy and the talkie and the thingy.
With the hangy, yes, the hangy to go talkie thingy.
Right. Well, John and I were having a lovely conversation before the show started, and I really want to watch this. And if I'm on the show, I won't be able to stop talking long enough to really pay attention. Anybody who knows me knows that. So I'm going to let you guys have your show.
Well, before you jump, Bill, we'll put in our little plug here. You're going to be, actually, all three of us, we're going to be in Vegas in February. Speaking of Vegas, where Ben is right now. Ben is down there right now doing some preliminary checking for good food spots. Recon. Yeah.
Recon. I'm just warming the place up for you.
Just trying to find the good cigars and the fine, well-rounded and marbled steaks.
That's what we're after, steaks, because we don't have those in
great iced tea.
Yeah,
came all the way to Vegas to get a decent iced tea.
Wow. Duh.
But we're going to be having the DJNTV DJ Convention going on February 24th through the 27th. Fly down on Sunday.
Wait, hold on. Let me put that on my calendar.
Yeah, you better write that down because
you're going to want to be there since you're speaking.
Well, no, actually, he's introducing you, and you're our first one.
Oh, Ben is the first one.
Ben is the first
I got to write something. Monday. And let me just make it very clear. I don't care what Ben tells you. He's not going to let me. I'm not going to touch any cords. I'm not going to let him put a box on my head.
Are you still sore about getting electrocuted a couple years ago?
Sore? I'm still tingling in different parts of my body. It's not right.
That one's too easy. We're just going to let that one go.
Yeah, maybe we'll move on to another part of our conversation.
I think it's going to be a great show, and with all with something that we as veterans in the industry have been waiting for John Young and the Disc Jockey News to create something educational for the DJ community for a really long time. It's been, he's done stuff with newspapers. He's done stuff with online. He's got the DJNTV Insider. He and I did some things when he was first starting out, and Ben was a part of that very beginning stuff too. We all kind of all did it together.
Mm-hmm. We've been around a while, haven't we?
Yeah, this is really sad. Yeah. Here's the thing: we're going to have really old men get together and talk about how it used to be. Look,
John, how about you? That's not at all.
John and Ben are two of the guys that are beyond reproach when it comes to what has been created in the DJ industry over the last 25 years. And I've been really lucky to be a small part of that each time that they decide to do something extraordinary. And now something that I know John has talked about, I've talked about with him, Ben's talked about, is being able to bring John and Ben's integrity to Las Vegas to be able to do something really extraordinary. And he's found a way to partner with the Photo Booth Expo, and the Photo Booth Expo, which has already got quite a few people creating some really interesting things in a really great hotel. A lot of people, many of us know about it, some of the old timers, but if you haven't found the South Point, it's really a great place. And it's far enough off the strip that we can really focus on the work we want to do, and close enough to the strip that if you want to play, you certainly can. And there's not a thing about what you're putting together, guys, that doesn't sound attractive, even to the old guys, much less any of the young people that are trying to find their way in this industry and trying to find a way to make a living at it and build a business and create something for their family and their life and their future, which is really what we've always wanted to do. 25 years ago, when we all sat together years ago in a small hotel in Minneapolis, right?
Yeah, we started putting things together.
I think there's
pretty cool.
I think there's tremendous balance, Bill. I think you mentioned the 25 years, I certainly
for you guys. I'm only 25 myself, but
yeah, and I was going to say I think we're pretty youthful at heart, but I think there is something too, that there is a lot of balance, and there's a lot of there's wisdom that's brought on by people who've been down that road a long, long time. But there's a lot of disruption and innovation too. I mean, when you look at the speakers and you look at the content, and I got to be honest, I'm a little slow sometimes, and this took me a minute to kind of marinate on this. I mean, it wasn't a technical thing, so that's why I didn't just click right away. And I was looking at the picture that so many people have posted and shared, showing all the people that are presenting at this event. And, and I see it and I see it and I see it because I'm tagged in it, and for the first time I really looked at it. And I started looking at the names, people I know, people I respect, people I admire, people I adore. And my first thought was, holy crap, I'm a part of this thing, and then, as you just pointed out, I'm keynoting it. I thought, holy crap. I mean, that was, I had this moment where I thought, man, I have really got my work cut out for me here. Just to stand and deliver on the level that is the bar that is being set by everybody else there. Just to be in that list, you had better bring your A game. So.
Right, and I guess the first 50 people in the seats at Ben's thing are all getting slide rules. So
they are. It's incredible.
Yeah, autographed pocket protectors.
Oh my gosh, now I want to go.
You know what, Bill? I'll say this. This is John's event, and obviously I'm working for John, and he's working for the people that are attending. So he obviously is listening to the feedback from those people, and we've talked about it on a few shows that the topics of my masterclass and my keynote are not written yet. And certainly the masterclass will be highly technical in nature. That'll be, but digestible even for a guy like you, Bill, and for those who, and I'll just say this, for those who don't know Bill, first of all, where in the world have you been? But second of all, Bill is self-admittedly, like a technophobe. He doesn't like technology. He doesn't like these things. And yet has
no, that's not true. I don't not like it. I have a difficult time understanding it.
I was trying to give
you.
I
like it. I think it's cool. I really do. I just it put me up against anybody who knows it, and you just kind of roll your eyes and wonder why I'm a part of the conversation.
Well, I was going to go a different direction with that and not say I wonder why you're part of the conversation, but to say that you've made an amazing career, and certainly you've inspired and educated a lot of people in spite of not being a technology guy. So the friendly jab was knowing that you could take the punch. But
I know.
But obviously for me, it's always important that people don't sit in the class and leave saying, wow, Ben used some really big words and I didn't understand anything, and that didn't benefit me. And it didn't benefit me at that point either. I want people to come away with something.
Right.
What I really wanted to say was because the slate is really blank right now, we've talked about that keynote not necessarily being technical in nature. And I think people might say, what in the world would Ben Stowe talk about if it wasn't technical? Well,
there's lots.
Believe me, there's more under the hood than just ones and zeros. I know it's hard for people to believe that I'm a human being,
well,
but
and I've been teasing you about it for years, just because, in the scale of the guy who could be a rocket scientist to the dancing monkey. That's why I like having fun with it. But Ben is one of the, not only is really smart when it comes to all the sciencey stuff, okay, and all the technical stuff. He could not keynote as many things as he does. He would not be able to stand in front of as many audiences, whether they're brainiacs or not, if he didn't already have some skills himself as a performer. And you show that every single time. I pick on you because it's a way to pick on me. There's a big difference here.
I can take the punch too, obviously. So, we have such a good friendship that, obviously you were willing to be electrocuted on stage. That was big of you. But anyway, you could pick on me all you want, Bill. I am totally good with it. So.
I know that. That's what's so great about it. I mean, we both had the same stage chops. We do. Okay. You've got some knowledge in one place. I've got some knowledge in one place. We both had the same stage chops. And if anybody thinks that they're going to go see Ben Stowe talk and not learn anything about how to stand in front of an audience full of people and grab and hold their attention, even if he's talking Klingon, they don't think they can learn anything from that, they're nuts. Okay. Because I've learned a lot from everybody that I know, including you, Ben. So, technically, but that's just in the staging of the scripting of the joke that we have running since the day we met, right? Otherwise, I mean, look, if you were just a guy with a pocket protector using big words, you wouldn't be able to do what you do. And you're not just making stuff up, and you're not standing up there doing that. Or John wouldn't continue to ask you to speak. Mobile Beat would not continue to ask you to speak. You wouldn't be going to conferences outside of our industry if, in fact, you were just up there talking with a slide rule and algebraic equations. Even those people would find it difficult to watch. So your stage chops are there. And if that's what you think you're going to get is only tech, when you go see Ben talk, even if his subject is tech, you're nuts. I've always said, if you want to be a better performer, you go and see other performers, and you learn something that will bring it back to you. And knowing how my speakers work makes me a better performer. And watching someone who has to take a difficult subject and communicate it in a way that everyone leans into it is something that you're doing that a lot of people just cannot do. And I would have a difficult time doing. I'm really good at, bringing it down to a level that I understand. But if I had to talk technical, I would have to spend a lot of time with someone like yourself who understands not only what he's talking about, but then how to communicate to a people that aren't necessarily coming to understand an algebraic equation. Right. So, it's a long way around the corner to say you got lots and lots of chops, man. And I've always said that. It's just been that's our Abbott and Costello thing, right? It's the who's on first, what's on second, what came first, the speaker or the performer, right? That's what that is with you and I. So that's all.
Well, thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. I'm excited for it. I'm even a bit more nervous now after you just said all those things. I had really better not suck, huh? No, I guess, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to hear from the listeners and the attendees. Want to make sure they get their money's worth. Certainly, we want the masterclass to be educational and hard hitting and on point. People can take those technical things back and run more efficient businesses because of it, have better shows, produce better quality results. But again, the keynote is kind of wide open. It's been kind of fun to play a little bit of, just sort of back and forth with John to, discuss topics, and it might ultimately be technical. That's tougher because it's hard to get into a room with 1,500 people and have something that's on point for everybody when it's technical in nature. I don't know. Like I said, we'll see, And if I ultimately am just a big disappointment and a big letdown, Bill Herman's personal phone number is.
What?
Yeah. Well, no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. We spent a lot of time talking about this, and it's kind of off topic, but it's worth talking about. Again, you just look at that graphic and you look at who's on it, and the first question one might ask is how you get all these people in one event, and I think when you look at John and what he's done and the dedication that he's had, that those 25 steadfast years, there's no question why you said yes and why I said yes and why, I don't know, about 150 other people said yes, that this is all an endeavor that I think, the industry is behind and so anyway, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
The links, of course, if you guys are interested in grabbing your tickets, you can go down to the description of the videos. No matter where you're watching tonight, Facebook or YouTube, we have a lot of different spots. We actually are streaming to 8 different spots tonight. So somebody was like, how come that message was kind of weird? It's because I'm replying to people on YouTube and on Facebook at the same time tonight. But in the description of the video is the link to go to DJNTV.com/tickets. There's a promo code down there, and that will get you the current price of the ticket. Every month the price goes up. That's kind of how the system is designed. So you buy your tickets now and you are locked in at the best rate that will be available between now and February.
You're going, so just buy the ticket now.
Pretty much. Because you're going to see Bill Herman there. And if that isn't worth the price. And then I think he froze.
Yeah, that was timely.
Yeah. I think.
Bye, Bill. We love you.
There you go.
I love you guys too.
All right. Thanks, Bill. We'll catch you later.
Bye.
Let's see if and it might change our screen. There we go. Perfect. It didn't. So, okay. Hey, that was that was unexpected, but that's okay.
That's good. We filled a little time. It's. Isn't that what we aspire to do? Just
have a little fun and share. And we had some good chat in the chat rooms going on. Also, people talking about the show and about that whole sense of community that we've been able to develop here with our DJNTV shows and such. Which I think I saw a few minutes ago. We had about 75 people. 75 were watching. It's like, wow. Goodness gracious. A lot of you out on Facebook.
Anytime, Bill, what Bill's created with the entertainment experience and Jason, they have to be among the highest paid, in terms of personalized educational content. I'm not saying that what they do is expensive. I think it's a premium, that's, I guess I'm saying it in a complimentary sense. Mm-hmm. So obviously he has no problem selling out these events. And so I think, when you have somebody who can consistently do that at that rate, you've got something. So again, if he's there, it's just another check on the list to say, well, here's a guy that people pay, thousands of dollars to sit in a room with for a few days. And you can do that for a lot less than that.
Yeah.
So. And
you can learn even though in Bill's case, he's going to be doing the emceeing. It's interesting.
Watch him. Watch him.
Exactly. You can learn how he does staging, how he is going to bring the attention back to the stage and do his things and control the crowd. It's a great lesson just in emceeing right there.
I don't know if we ever came clean on this deal. I feel like I should. We kind of referenced in conversation him being electrocuted on stage.
I was going to say, yes, we probably need to talk because there's people who haven't seen that or
are
thinking it was really
the whole
really bad.
The whole bit was to demonstrate the dangers of improper grounding. And even with all the care and preparation that goes into this, there's no way that I was going to risk actually electrocuting Bill Herman, whether I like him or not. And I do. So that was just another thing in his favor. But some people I might have risked it,
Let's see what is, say.
Anyway, so, I guess the moral of the story is that Bill had to convincingly do this in front of a live audience of about 1,000 people, maybe a little more. And we didn't rehearse this. We briefly discussed it. And then most of it was nonverbal communication between us on the stage. And again, two people who are never on the stage together. And I give really 100% of the credit to Bill. to, read my body language and understand the nonverbal cues I was trying to give him to sell this to the audience that he was about to get lit up. And one of my favorite comments, there's videos of this still out there on YouTube, I hope, but I remember watching some of these back, and, just sort of like watching game tape as an athlete, kind of watch back and say, okay, what could I have done better? How could I have communicated this better? I heard a voice yell on one of these videos that was filmed from the audience that says, "He really did it." And I thought, man, we sold that, and again, the point was not really to electrocute Bill. The point was to make a point. The point was to talk about the technology and the dangers here. But he convincingly sold that he was in fact receiving dangerous voltage when in fact he wasn't receiving any. So that there it is. It's just it. Even though you were there to learn about grounding, I think there's a lot that can be learned by Bill and Jason's performance. And for me, I think the most dangerous thing was just trying not to be upstaged during my own presentation.
Oh, that's funny. That was I remember when he did that, and
he it was fun. I kind of think we should do it again, but maybe it might be fun to actually slip him a little voltage. He's not expecting it. Just a little, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, he's actually watching right now for the first time.
Oh,
probably.
Rats. Well, I mean, I was just kidding about that.
Yeah.
I would never.
No, fun. All right, let's get to tonight's topic. I wanted to talk a little bit, Ben, about some ways to be able to effectively kind of wash our dance floor. And we're going to be kind of taking it from the wedding DJ perspective. We want to have that wash of light on our dance floor so it's inviting. It's not going to blow people away, and it's going to give us a nice coverage so that it will be an atmosphere where people want to come out and enjoy and have fun. What does it take? What should I know to make that happen?
Well, a couple things. I always like to think about purpose. I always like to think about why. Why am I doing something? And you hit some really good things. Number one, of course, is, and not necessarily in this order, but atmosphere is important. We want it to be inviting. We want it to be where people are not as inhibited. They're willing to come out on the dance floor and participate. I know there are DJs who could pack a brightly lit floor in the middle of the day. Good. But there's also a reason that we have lights and we use them at concerts and that sort of thing. So if we can, kind of help people feel more relaxed and more invited and more, willing to come out and do their thing, they're probably more likely to do it. But while doing that, another consideration we have to have is safety. We have people who are at this event and they've maybe been, partaking of alcoholic beverages and that sort of thing. And their balance may not be quite what it is. And then there's a lot of moving parts, unfamiliar terrain, those sorts of things. So we have to have enough light, to allow people of different age groups to safely ingress and egress the dance floor as well. True. So it's sort of that, to me, wash lighting is kind of it's the foundation from which you can build the rest of your light show on. If you have sharper edged things, moving lights, that sort of things, awesome. You can kind of build on that wash. But I think that wash is so fundamentally important that if you have to pick anything, that's probably the thing, to have a wash. The good news and the bad news is there's really not just one way to do this. In fact, there's not even 10. There are so many different ways you can do it. So I decided to just kind of talk, and obviously I don't have any props here in Las Vegas where I'm out, getting some learning on myself,
right?
Which is great, by the way. I get to spend some time with, logic circuits and truth tables, and I was very much in nerd heaven, so it was good.
Truth tables?
Truth tables. Yeah, we can get into that in a little bit if you want. I'm sure. No? All right.
I'm pretty good. I think we're good with that, yeah.
Maybe I'll make my whole keynote on truth tables.
Yeah.
There will be exactly one person left in the room when I'm done. That'll be Howie.
Howie's like, this is the best one ever.
That's right. Howie be in front row like, yeah.
I get this one.
And he'd probably get all the pocket protectors that people left behind. So I made just sort of a short list, and I think there are so many lights that you could use for wash lighting. Basically, let's think about it in the simplest of terms. It's just a light that covers a wider area. So that can be any number of things, Fresnels, PARs, those sorts of things. Some of my favorites, and you might be able to pop up some images or some links. I don't know, see how fast you are here, because I know I didn't give you any prep.
Yep.
That's a challenge to you. One of the most popular ones that I see DJs buying all the time, and by the way, they're on sale right now. There's a winter promo on these, so that's a bonus, is the Chevet Lighting Wash FX 2. It's, of course, an LED fixture, and it has color mixing capabilities, and it's got like 6 kind of panels and a little bit curved shaped front, so it has pretty good coverage area. Really good on floors and ceilings and walls and that sort of thing. Oh, look at you going right to our website. Atta boy.
On sale.
Yes, and I think, correct me if I might be wrong.
They can't see it. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, they can't see.
It might even be less than that, and maybe I'm getting ahead of us here. So I would say just reach out to Katie just to be sure. So anyway, but it is on sale for sure. That might be the sale price, and it might be less. Check with Katie. A couple of other ones would be the Chevet H1, which is part of the Freedom series, and it is battery powered and wireless internet. Goodness gracious, I spent too long in a training today. Wireless connectivity, Chevet DeFi wireless control. There was also a lot of IP stuff in that training, so I did spend a lot of time thinking about IP tables and structures and that sort of thing. So anyway, this is DeFi, not wireless internet, which allows for magnetic remote connection and wireless control. And then they also have their Q1 BT, which is a Bluetooth control. So we can control that from any, smartphone device, whatever. I'm probably moving too fast for you to pull stuff up here.
Yeah, right now, especially because I'm
yeah, that's all right. You know what, viewers, write them down and hop on our site and check them out. Or we can send you a list. Because the point is that there isn't really, each of these has unique characteristics, and that's what I wanted to kind of talk about, the unique shape of the Wash FX2, the fact the H1 is wirelessly controlled and battery powered, and also the Q1 BT. But something else I want to talk about is chip-on-board technology, which has been out for a while now, but COBS, we often call them, or chip-on-board, tends to have a lot wider, smoother coverage. So sticking with Chevet for now, the core PARs, they have their 40 and their 80. Those are a couple ones that are worth looking at. These chip-on boards have really good, smooth, wide coverage. So if you want to light a really wide area, these are a great choice.
So what kind of a throw would they have? You said they're a wider coverage, but now will they be able to throw out 20 feet and give us a light effect? Or where would they be in that realm? Yeah,
I think it depends on, how intense you want it to be. I would say they're going to perform really well in typical dance floor situations where you've got them approximately 8 feet off the ground and you're trying to light an area that's, maybe 20 or 30 feet or so. Mm-hmm. And again, we're not trying to blow this area out. We're just trying to provide some light, like Bill said, kind of like the background behind you, where we've got some color to it, maybe even some texture to it, which we'll talk about. That'll be kind of one of the last things we talk about is texture. But yeah, I think it's hard to put a number on that because it depends on how you use it, and what you're doing with it. But sure. I would say, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're going to be just not as spotty as some of the PARs. I think everybody's kind of seen the LED PARs, and they tend to be a bit tighter, whereas these are a bit smoother. And there are different optics we can put into them, which we'll talk about in a second. We'll talk about some optics options. Mm-hmm. Boy, see, there you go, viewers. That's what happens when I spend all day in a high-level training. My brain is trying to shift back to DJ lights. I do apologize. Switching over to our friends at ADJ, they've got a zoomable PAR, which is cool because now the pattern, and this is a good segue from we were talking about how much will it cover, we can make it wider or narrower depending on how it's being used. So it's very versatile in that sense. We can make it very, very wide, or we can tighten it up a little bit if we're trying to throw that a longer distance, and we can mix and match. You could have some that are a bit wider, some that are a bit tighter, and now we can start kind of creating some layered effects and that sort of thing. So not just, and how you do it is up to you. There's not necessarily a right or wrong here. That's the beauty of creativity and lighting. But I know some people who just do like 2 of those Wash FX2s on stands, and somebody else might do, a dozen of these zoomable pars in some different ways. And I think it really depends on what the client's expectations are and what they're paying you.
Certainly.
Sorry, I've got this cough. It just won't go away. Sticking with ADJ, their DOTS series, pretty much anything in the DOTS series, DOTZ. They've got some 2.4s and some other things like that. Again, just different options for different applications. As I like to say when I do some of my lighting presentations, the dance floor, or the room more appropriately, is the canvas, and the lights are just our brush. So, when we're thinking about the painting we want to make, there isn't a lot of rights and wrongs. There's some accidental beauty, in fact, where you do something and you go, wow, that's really cool. I didn't mean to do that, but it was really cool. And then, of course, there's things we know and we do purposefully. So that's why I'm really pulling up short of saying use this and do it this way, because I don't subscribe to that at all.
The DOTS lights you're talking about, those are chip on board. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, they are, and they also have some other Cobb lights as well. They have their Cobb Cannon, and some of that sort of the I forget some of the names, but they just come right out and call them the Cobb, Cobb this, Cobb that, chip on board. But yeah, DOTS also uses chip on board technology, and so again, you have that a little bit wider, smoother coverage, maybe,
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean it's better. I think in a wash application, I would say it is, but again, I can't overstate how much I think this depends on personal preference and desired result. There is so much gray area here. DJing in and of itself is an art form, and we see DJs lobbing fireballs at each other all the time for mixes they make or styles they do and this and that. Lighting might even be more subjective, certainly as subjective. We're borrowing a lot from the theater industry. And ultimately, to me, when I think about what I'm trying to do, we talked about those 2 things early on, atmosphere and safety. And when I think about atmosphere, I think about it very theatrically speaking. I think about that, what is lighting used for in the theater world, and how can I adapt that? And to me, it's about helping people to believe they're somewhere else.
Sure, yeah.
When we go watch a play, if you're watching Phantom, you want to believe that you're in tunnels underneath the streets of Paris or something. You want to be taken into that moment with the performers. And certainly this is very much a moment when we're talking about weddings and that sort of thing. So we want to help transport the guests into that moment. And some of these are very elaborate and very themed, where we can get into some of the textures and things that we are going to talk about. Now is a good time, I guess. Yeah. We could do sort of some abstract patterns using what we would traditionally think of as harder edge fixtures, framing spots, source 4s, ellipsoidals, things like the Eve, the Ovation, the Icon, that sort of thing. But these can also be soft focused and kind of zoomed out. And so maybe we have some leaves or trees or even just some abstract shapes, and we've kind of zoomed out and soft focused those so they're not a hard edge shape anymore. We're talking about putting gobos in those. Mm-hmm. But now we've made them just sort of part of that background wash, and it has more depth and texture.
Nice.
And one more I'll throw in there before I talk about textures, and then we'll see if we got any questions. And if I'm rushing, it's just because I'm trying to time this information between coughs. I picked up this cough in Phoenix and just trying to shake it. So turns out, viewers, and I didn't know this either, by the way, but it turns out I'm mortal. I didn't know. So it was a big shock. All right, one more I feel like tossing in there. This is a pretty cool fixture. The Eternal Show Cube. It is a battery-powered wireless fixture that has 10 independent heads. And you can aim them in different directions. You can control each of them individually. It does have wireless DMX on board. You can also use it with a remote control. It has some built-in patterns and all kinds of fun things. It comes with a stand and can be stand mounted and basically is ready to go at that point. You put it on a stand, you point it at the dance floor and, whatever. But it also has hanging brackets. So it can be hung. And of course you could use a couple of these. And we talked about that. Lighting is very subjective, but it's just one more very unique fixture. There's really nothing else like it out there. There are certainly things, like the 4-bar and that sort of thing. but to have that level of versatility and be wireless and battery powered, it made the list. So.
Mm-hmm. Nice. What are your take when it comes to, again, we're going to stick with that kind of wedding world. We've washed the floor. The addition of beaming type effects, whether it's a moving head fixture or something to that effect, how important would something like that be to the success of the illumination of the dance floor? Or is that something that would also be the subjective thing?
Well, I think it's absolutely subjective, and there's a lot of variables. But certainly, if we have our dance floor wash covered, and we have those things with regard to atmosphere and safety, the moving heads give us a lot of versatility. We can bring those in, and again, you have very precise control about where they go and what they do when you're using DMX, and so they can be very on point with the music, sort of a visual instrument, if you will, playing along with the music, perhaps. But one of my favorite quotes from a friend of mine, he's a lighting designer for a band that's made bazillions of dollars. He said, just because it's a moving light doesn't mean it has to move. So there's a lot of versatility there. And of course, the fact that they can move is a big selling feature, but they don't have to always be moving either. Yeah. And in fact, there are also moving washes. So, we could have that zoom feature that we talked about with the ADJ PAR on a moving yoke fixture, a moving head, and now we have the ability to zoom it in, zoom it out, and move it around. So we can create very fluid and dynamic effects. And again, I think this really comes down to what your vision for the event is, and what the client's budget is. Mm-hmm. If they're willing to pay a lot, you better provide a lot, I think. And vice versa, right? So. At that point, there's all kinds of fun things you can do. And again, we can put, these gobos in moving heads, and we can soft focus those as well. We can multi-layer those if your moving head has different gobo wheels. So now you can start creating some different effects where by focusing on one wheel, you're out of focus in the other wheel, and that can create some really cool layered effects. We did some very cool things with that in the years past at the Lighting Symposium. And again, this isn't stuff we invented either. The theater industry's been doing this for a long time. So we're just sort of borrowing from our theater cousins and saying, okay, how do we turn our ballroom space into basically a theater in the round? How do we, make everybody a player in this theater company for this event that day? And I will say this too. One of the coolest things about lighting is not just understanding what to light, but understanding what not to light. By creating focal points and creating areas of emphasis in lighting, we can take attention away from things we don't want to light. And that can be for a variety of reasons. This can change throughout the course of the day. So the room can be different places, much like a stage is different places during different scenes. But it can also help hide some ugly things in a room, or, just keep the attention where it needs to belong. So lighting is very powerful that way.
And kind of building off of that, let's go into placement of lights. When you were referring to, the showing and the hiding and such, placement is going to really fit into that side of it on your dance floor for some of the effects that you want to have with people being able to see the bride as she's getting ready to toss her bouquet and the excitement on her face, what have you.
Yeah, and I've been a guest at many weddings, and for me as a guest going to weddings, one of my favorite things, number one's the food. That's a given, But, two is seeing friends and family and people we don't get to see often enough, and spending that time, certainly one of my favorite memories of my sister's recent wedding was dancing with my daughters and spending time with our extended family. And, those kind of moments you just don't get to have every day. But at the end of the day, every guest has these things going on, these little micro events happening within the event. But at the end of the day, it was my sister's day. And at the end of the day, it's the bride's day. And so I think this gives us a real opportunity to sort of help people subtly, more subtly than getting on the microphone going, hey, everybody shut up. It's time to do the bouquet. Stop. Everybody shut up. Obviously, hopefully no DJ would ever do that, right? But
no, I've never done.
Hopefully not. If you do, you should probably go to Bill Herman's thing. I think he'll take care of that.
Yeah, he tells you how to say it in French, so it's great.
Yeah. But but I think we can kind of do that in subtle psychological cues where we can sort of, help people to say, oh, there's something happening over here. I should, pay attention to that. It's not just happening in the midst of all this. It is what is happening, that becomes the stage at that moment. When a concert's about to start and the house lights go out, everybody makes a big noise and then they get really quiet, but everybody gets it. Right. It's time to pay attention to the stage. So I think there's those opportunities where we can kind of help the event move along by shifting those focal points and help put that focus where it needs to be. So that's one way, but again, you're only limited by your imagination here. And what I've come to learn since Bill made me sound so old earlier, our 25 years in the industry.
Yeah, you threw that out there.
There are some extraordinarily talented people in our industry. No doubt many of them are watching. And they understand how events work, and they have creative, initiative when it comes to making the day flow. The lighting is one more tool in your toolkit. Mm-hmm. It's one more tool like your microphone. So think about all these things working together for a purposeful outcome. So, short answer, it's up to you. What will you paint?
The walls, the ceiling, the floor, but not grandma's eyes because grandma won't be able to see.
That's interesting. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day who went to a concert, and she was upset because they had paid money to go to this concert. And she said, is it the thing now where you just try to blind people at a concert? And I tried to explain that in an arena, the lighting designer is trying to create looks for the stage, which means lights are going to be positioned and there's no way to miss everybody, but at the end of the day, I just kind of said, hey, I'm a sound guy. So, just the lighting people are, obviously, I could kind of hold my own, as a little bit of both, but I tried to take the sound guy cop out there. But that's a thing. I mean, that ruined her experience, or it certainly damped it. It made her experience worse. And so I think, to the best of our abilities, we should bear that in mind. Let's try to, try not to put the light in grandma's eyes if we can, we don't have ice cream today, but a pizza just showed up in my hotel room. So, it's a good day.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously, a pizza just showed up. One of our engineers, Sam, is out here with me. He just brought a pizza in the room. So thank you, Sam.
Sam's not delivering.
No ice cream, though.
Yeah, no ice cream.
Go get some ice cream. He said no. And he's gone. All right.
Here's where the shut up comes in.
Yeah.
Ben, we got a couple minutes left. I want you to just give us a quick explanation of the difference between the lighting possibility with LED compared to a halogen bulb compared to an incandescent bulb. When it came to DJ floodlights and their uses within those.
I think we could probably put incandescent and halogen in the same category. They're very similar in that they, use a filament and then an inert gas, or, in one case it's a halogen gas, and then, with a tungsten light bulb, it's something different. But, I think fundamentally they're close enough. We could say that they are basically the same thing. One of the things that's really great about halogen is that it burns at a very consistent output and color temp. So TV likes them and that sort of thing. But I think the ship has sailed. They generate so much more heat, which makes them more difficult to deploy near scenery. They require more power, which is always a struggle in venues, it seems. So, if anybody's using those still and they're working for them, that's totally cool. But I think the ship has kind of sailed. LED now, particularly the higher quality ones, and all LEDs have certainly not made the same. I mean, basically when LEDs are made, they look at the spectral output of the LED and they kind of sort them. And the more accurate they are, they get put in this bin, and then there's this bin, and then there's this bin. And so even LEDs coming off the same line they're not the same. They test them and they go, oh, these aren't quite as within tolerance. Those are cheaper. So, you got your higher quality ones, and then you got your cheaper ones, and on down to, it sort of makes a light that color. So we can call it, red or whatever, but they're really not, they have a range of nanometer, that they're willing to accept. Anyway, certainly we're seeing LED being used now in so many ways, in so many places. Theater is really beginning to accept it in a broad sense. Excuse me. television and that sort of thing, really starting to get on board with it. So I think particularly at the DJ level, where we're not nearly as concerned about that as they are. And again, the higher your level of events, then the more concerned you probably want to be. But I think LED is certainly adequate for everything that we're doing. So I would say, yeah, I wouldn't go out and buy incandescent or halogen fixtures today.
No, just not that time. Not that time anymore. Excellent. Ben, if we've got some new people actually tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. Oh, you had a diffuser there.
Yes, that's the last thing I want to talk about. And this is, and actually, I can send you a link if you want to put it in the video. There's another video just on these, but if you can read that. This is a Roscoe OptiSculpt, and it is a 10 by 60. So what's cool about this is that this, I don't know if you can see, it has some lines in it. Try it this way, maybe it's a little more.
Yep, there we go. We can see the lines. Yep.
Yeah, Roscoe designed these specifically for LED fixtures. So they've been making filters and that sort of thing for, halogen and incandescent and all those things for over 100 years. This is specifically designed for LED. And this is designed to spread the light in one direction more than the other. And there's a whole line of OptiSculpt, and you can see them on our site. If you go to the video that John's going to link, you can see some of the different ones compared. We have some other footage as well if you want to see that outside, whatever didn't make the video cut, the director's cut, I guess, as it were. But this is nice because maybe I'm washing a wall and I don't need the light to spill into the dance floor. I just want it to go wider on the wall. So these will take existing LED fixtures and make them wider in one direction and not as much so in the other direction. So I just wanted to put that out there to say that's the other thing about washing is, again, like we said, lighting what we want to, but also not lighting what we don't, helping to create those focal points.
Mm-hmm. I'm just putting that link out there so people can go check out the OptiSculpt. And I want to add that here. Oh, I've got a couple of links I've got to add. So for those of you who are watching this afterwards, these links are down in the description of the video. We put them down there. So there, save, and they will be there. So yeah, you guys can check that out after the show and go that way. Again, Ben, we got some new people tonight, and they were wondering what's the best way to be able to reach out to you and such if they've got some questions and want to get some gear, because we got a lot of our great viewers who have been sharing the different help that you've given them on purchases and things when they've bought new pieces of equipment. So they're like, hey, they want to talk. So what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Well, first, thanks, viewers. I appreciate that a lot. Those that we've been able to serve and those that we look forward to serving. Sort of an apology. I was looking at one of our videos the other day, and I scrolled down to the comments, and I realized I had missed some comments, several from months ago. And I sort of thought, gosh, at this point, do I answer or don't I? And so I didn't see those comments. Obviously, I would have addressed them. So this is a really timely question because that was kind of bothering me, and I'm glad you brought it up. Email really is probably the best. You can also find me on Facebook, and you're welcome to message me there. But email is probably the best. And my email is very simple. It's just my name, Ben, at nlfxpro.com. And as with all things, the wonder of the interwebs, if I don't write you back, I may not have seen your email or didn't get it or got lost in the tubes that are the interwebs. Yeah. Please just write me again. I'd like to think I get 100% of them, but I'm sure that's not the case. So I guess the moral of the story I'm trying to make is that your messages are important, and I absolutely will answer them, to the best of my abilities. Yep. So please reach out to me that way, and I'll get back to you. And if I don't, well, then you can just write John and say, Ben's a big poo-poo head and he didn't get back to me. And anyway.
And then we'll give you Bill Herman's phone number. It'll be...
Yeah, I didn't finish saying that number out loud.
We'll get that in just a second here. So thank you guys for being with us tonight. Brian is going to be up next in about 10 minutes. We'll be talking about our thoughts on the best songs that are going to be sticking with you from 2019 and beyond. We'll be getting into that. Ben, enjoy your time in Las Vegas.
Thanks. I was just going to read Bill's number real quick. It's 9.
Well, good night, everybody. Bye-bye.